You're muted, Risha.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ricia Adair. We've got a great call in store for you tonight. I have an amazing guest that's just loaded with information. My name is Ricia Adair. I'm Canadian and I live in Manzanillo, Mexico.
I am so excited to be on this call with Miss Risha. She's not going to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you how excited I am for you. I met Miss Risha back and really got to spend some time with her after meeting her on the IPA in Punta Cana when we both earned that amazing trip. And we got to spend 3 hours together one night. But I was so excited because I've seen Risha at a distance, and getting to spend time with her is like getting to sit down with a movie star. And she's already earned the president title in this company. And I'm going to get to share some news. She just got the amazing call from Partner Co. that said, congratulations, you are the new owner and winner of the $10,000 savings bonus. Isn't that exciting, Barb and Randy? Isn't that exciting, Steph? That is one of the highlights of this company. We get to learn while we earn, and it's more than we can even imagine. But I view Risha as a superstar. She is Canadian. She now lives in Manzanillo, Mexico, and she is touching thousands of lives across this country and this nation and the globe. So, Miss Risha, I am honored to be on this call with you tonight. Let's go.
Well, before we take over and do all this great training and teaching and all that, there are two people on this call that also recently triggered their 10K bonus, right? Barb and Randy McCubbin, congratulations to you. Wow, so exciting.
Thank
This,
you, thank you. Woohoo! It is exciting.
and what
Very
are you going to
exciting.
do with your 10,000?
We'll probably be buying our living room and bedroom furniture.
For your brand new house, thanks to Partner Co.
Yes.
Congratulations. Wow, this is so exciting. Well, you guys, we started this journey. Mike and I, my husband, started this journey in October 2023. We moved into our beautiful boutique resort dream home, Casa 700 Mangoes in Manzanillo. And I'll tell you, it was the dream come true, except we had no idea if a house is unattended in the tropics for 5 glorious months, all kinds of things go real bad. Like real bad. We've all seen movies, right? Well, so many things happened here. I ended up in a lot of debt. It sucked out of our little bits of energy very quickly. And before you know it, I got really sick with all kinds of infections. Stress is a demon. It really is a demon. And as a result, I got really heavy, really fat, and just not in a good place, throw in depression, throw in anxiety, and we're broke, living the dream, right? And then came that magic phone call with Partner Co. And I can't believe it. I started posting and just magic started to happen. I got 59 comments the first day I posted, 20 new customers, 6 new brand partners. And then magic happened inside my own body from size 18 to size 9. And I go, holy heck, who's that fat girl and how'd she end up in my computer? Life is so good. Life is so changed. I am 67 years old and I really feel like I'm going on 32. I sleep like a baby. I am pain free. I can outrun a 30-year-old any day. I'm just so happy about how life has changed for me. And Brenda just mentioned about Punta Cana. Pinch me, pinch me. Barb and Randy were there. Steph was there. Brenda was there. There was so many other people on this call that were there. And there was 178 people. And I think half of us were brand new in the company, 8 months or less, which is like so phenomenal. And we had such a great time. But right now, I want to share with you my dear co-host, and I'm so excited. She's my special guest tonight. The picture on the right, by the way, is my trademark. It's called 1, 2, 3 Crazy, because there's no ordinary pictures with this girl, right? I get you warmed up with a normal picture, and then everyone's got to do the 1, 2, 3 Crazy. So we just had so much fun. Brenda Carlton has become a dear friend of mine. She's a nutritional coach. She's been in the industry for 23 years. She loves the industry. She came here because of previous health issues. I think a lot of us have. And now she's a very successful rank of officer here with our company. She's been with us for 15 months. And she herself has had an amazing transition as well, too. Brenda, I'm so excited to have you on board, and tell us your story, how you got to know Partner Co. and this beautiful transition in your body.
Thank you, Ricia. Well, it all started with my daughter. She was dealing with major brain fog, extreme confusion, sudden rapid weight gain, and she said, "Mom, I just want to sleep my life away." She said, "I sleep all night and I just want to sleep all day too." But as a homeschool mom and a student herself in a worship academy, that was not possible. Knowing something was wrong, she made an appointment with a hormone specialist here in Colorado Springs, only to hear, "Well, Carrie, your labs are normal. The only thing I know to do is start you on birth control." Well, y'all, she turned 51 years old on June 30th. That was not an option. She reached out to a friend of hers and her prayer partner, who happened to be the homeopathic educator here in the Springs, Miss Amy Rickman. Amy got her started on the drops, and in 5 days, her life began to change. She had always been my little joy bomb, but the last 14 months, she had been anything but. So after getting started on the drops, 5 days, the cloud lifted. It was as if you had cleaned her brain with Windex. And by the end of the third week on these drops, she had lost a whole gene size. That'll rock your world. And so then came the magic moment. She says, "Mom, will you go with me to this meeting?" Well, because this is my industry, I knew what those meetings were about, but to support her, I went. And I was pretty amazed when I walked into Julie Park's house, not knowing anybody in the room, as 77 people poured in that house at 2:30 on a Sunday afternoon. I couldn't help but wonder what was the message that brought these people out. As I listened to Dr. Crystal Vance talk about what the drops were, she got my attention when she said digestive healing. That caused me to come forward and get started on the drops. And in just a few weeks, I lost a gene size, 10 pounds. I've never been this size in my life, not even in junior high. And all my digestive issues settled down. I have the energy of a 20-year-old, and I sleep amazingly deep. And I feel like my body runs like a fine-tuned, well-oiled machine, especially at 70 years old.
Wow, what a great story. I love it. And you know what? Congratulations to you to say yes, to show up on that Sunday afternoon, because that very day changed your life, right?
It did.
It's all about that first step. You know, in Punta Cana, I was all excited to do this zip lining crazy thing and, you know, step off a platform and look 40 feet into the jungle below. And I was so scared. I was like really frozen scared. And Dan, Callie, Heather, they looked at me and goes, "Aren't you coming?" I went, "No, no." And then all of a sudden I got the courage to take that first step and look at what, you know, I had the time of my life, right? It was like 5 different platforms, 5 different lights flew through the sky. And look at how your life has changed by saying yes to that first step. And so many of us on our call. So we're going to talk about, you had some amazing success in introducing health products in a medical clinic and actually being able to basically take over every client in that clinic. But let's start at step 1, how it all happens. Okay. Now I'm going to suggest to everybody, I do have notes in the chat. We're going to refer to a couple of documents, and the notes that we're talking about right now, this is all conversation. There's no more slides going forward. So you're welcome to grab those documents out of the chat. Brenda's going to be talking about a follow-up form that's there for you, and the notes that we're sharing going back and forth in our banter. So that's available for you in the chat as well. So first of all, Brenda, what I've noticed whenever I see you on all of our calls early in the morning, you always show up and you're very professional. You dress up. You look professional. You've got your makeup on, your beautiful lipstick. Tell me about that.
Well, Ricia, that's just who I am. I've been that way for years. It's just a part of me. I don't do that for anybody but me. It became a habit when I began work as a young girl, and then I just began to do that. And as I got older, it became really important to me. And then in this business, for me, I know that we have only one chance at making a first impression. And as I began to learn about how to share the products that I had found, I knew that people buy me before they buy my product. And so I needed to be the best that I could be. And I don't mean perfect. That's not what I'm talking about. There are times that I've been to the grocery store with my hair in a ponytail. When we lived in Texas, I lived in my pool and would have to run to the grocery store, but I always looked presentable. And it was always a big deal to me. So whether I was getting up on a Saturday morning to clean the house or whether I was going to church on Sunday, I always get up, do my hair and my makeup.
Exactly. And you feel too, don't you?
Do
You
say
feel
it
better
again.
about yourself.
And that's right because you can look around and what it tells me when somebody's at Walmart in their pajamas, it's an indication of how they see their self. And I fight sometimes to go up and tell them, you are worthy, you are enough, you do matter, because people usually have a very low self-esteem of that.
Exactly. And when you go to the grocery store, you never know who God is going to tell you to reach out and talk to in that moment. So again, look professional, leave the sweatshirt, leave the ball cap behind, and go out and be like you're going to work, right? Because you got to look back and say, would you buy from you? As Brenda said, that first impression is first and foremost important. Now, Brenda, you're really good at getting out into mixers and meeting people and just expanding your database. And for those old enough to remember the Rolodex word, tell us about the different mixers that you would go to where you would meet people.
Juliet, did you take your medicine?
Okay, we're going to have Amba. Please mute your line, Amba. Thank
I got
you.
her. I love people, and when you go out, I have a 3 foot rule, Risha. I'm listening to conversations and paying attention to what is around me 3 feet. And so you can learn a lot in that 3 feet around you. And so as I go out, I'm listening. But I did years ago, and this is when it started. I ended up having 22 gyms on our team in my previous company. And the way that happened was I just met people. And so I build a relationship with people and just get to know. I love finding out what makes people tick and what their interests are. And that's where I go.
And what are some different events that you would recommend to go to meet professionals?
Well, I love the community events around your town, your community. A group of us just got finished with doing the El Paso County Fair, which is here in Colorado in a little town called Cowhan. That's a great place. There are farmers markets. There are BNI groups. There are Rotary Club. There's Lions Club. There's your women's group at church. So get involved in the local things, find out what's going on in your area, and just go and serve. That is how we find out where people are and who they are, and an opportunity.
And talking about opportunities, God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, right? So listen to conversations as you're out and about. Listen for cries for help. Because it seems besides weather, people are always complaining about the issues at hand, right?
That's right.
So now you had a great success. It was a beautiful serendipitous event that started in the fitness industry. So I want to talk about that, how you actually were attracting businesses that attracted a certain clientele of people who care about how they look and feel.
Yes, we actually met a man and he introduced us to his best friend whose daughter and son-in-law were about to open a gym. And that's how it happened. And he said, I would love for you to meet my daughter. So as I met the daughter and I began to explain that I'm an advocate for health and wellness, I love products, I love helping people get results with products. I got her on products and she began to get results. And then she shared it with her husband, who was very skeptical. And then the next thing I know, they had the products in the gym, and then they began to have mixers in the gym where they wanted me to come in and talk to the trainers about the products. And then the trainers got the clients on the products. And we even had a vending machine where we had certain products in the vending machine. So that's how it began, Ricia. They began to open 8 other stores, gyms, went on to open up a total of 15 gyms. And so all I did was bounce from gym to gym, talking to the trainers, getting the trainers on board at the coaxing of the owners. And so when a trainer gets started on products and gets results, they are an advocate for that particular product or that company. So that's how it started.
Okay, so from a networking event or a personal introduction, you want to get connected to gym owners. Let's also talk about spa owners, estheticians, wellness clinics. What other group of businesses would fall into that clientele of people who care how they look and feel?
Nail salons, people that come to get their nails, they care about how they look. And so many nail salons, estheticians are helping people with their skin, their outer appearance. So put your thinking cap on and get creative and just say, who can you go talk to? And so, Ricia, I'm a firm believer in, don't go into a business establishment with the mindset, I'm going to get this gym on product. Don't start there. Go in and find the owner or a trainer or a manager, and that will open the door for you to bring more business. So build a relationship with the owner, the manager, or a trainer that has a lot of influence.
Exactly. Now, so many gyms are connected in a franchise situation, but there's a lot that are independently owned. Is that right?
That's correct. It's very difficult to get into a large franchise because most of them already have their products that they are moving, and they won't let you in.
Exactly. So focus on the small ones. There's plenty of abundance. What about wellness clinics, barbershops, health food stores? Would those be good options?
Absolutely. Well, that's what led me to the clinic. The doctor was an OB-GYN, and she worked out with a trainer that I had gotten on products. And the trainer was very strong in when she found out about products. And, you know, when a trainer believes in a supplement and understands that they can help a client get results twice as fast, they're going to insist that you take that product. And so we could just talk about the drops for one thing. When you can help a woman, I know, Randy, I know you're there, hun, but I'm going to talk to the women. When women can get out of bed in the morning and feel good when they put their feet on the floor, they feel like going to the gym, they feel like working out, then that becomes an incentive. And so when people, you know, a lot of times people don't feel good enough to go to the gym. We have something that will get them out of bed and get them to the gym, and then they'll begin to build, and their confidence begin to build as the product works.
Exactly. So Brenda, we're going to do a little bit of role playing here.
Okay.
I'm the gym and you're Brenda and you're excited about the drops and you're going to come in my door and you're going to approach me because I have a name tag that says Ricia Manager.
I am going to ask you, first of all, how long have you been at that gym? Do you like it? Tell me a little bit about your background. And I get to know that person. So I would ask you to tell me a little bit about you. And then I would ask you if you were open to hearing about an opportunity. May or may not be for you, but I would just like to share.
Awesome.
Would you give me 15 or 20 minutes? We can go into an office here, or we can go step out for coffee or grab a bite to eat.
I love it. Okay, so you're moving her right into a decision, a point of action, a call to action immediately. Right. Another option would be as well is you've got such a narrow window when you're talking to somebody in retail. That phone is going to ring any moment. A client is going to come up to the desk at any moment. You have to go fast, right? And you have to be laser focused. So we're going to ask you to practice a little, right? Do it scared and practice. I called on retail for many years and I was so scared the first time, but guess what? get over it and do it scared. So here's another idea. Again, establish rapport. That's critically important. You got to establish rapport. Are you from here? Were you born and raised in Colorado Springs? Whatever. And make friends with them. Find a way to do that and be authentic, be genuine, right? And so going forward, if I could show you a product that seems to be flying off the shelves, that everybody wants, everybody needs, would you give me just a few minutes of your time?
Absolutely. And
right?
so,
and they're going to be so curious about that. Tell me about that product, right?
Yeah, because, actually, when we're talking about trainers and gym owners, they can't trade any more hours for dollars. They're booked from early in the morning until late at night. And most of them are exhausted. And if the truth be known, most of them are broke. And so they're open, but they just don't know another way out. And so what I did was present my product and my opportunity as a side gig to come alongside what they're already doing. And then I showed them the money. And so when Ricia's talking about be prepared, we have an incredible system of growth here. And you have boards loaded on your phone. And we have the Partner Co Share app that we have 3 different versions of the comp plan. And so we have to be quick because they are hurting for time. And so we're ready to go in and hit the high points and give them the bullet points and then tell them, I'm going to give you 24 hours to think about it. I'm going to circle back around.
Exactly. That's right. And be very attentive and be mindful of their time. If you see a customer come up to ring in a purchase or whatever, you need to absolutely step aside, be very graceful, be very courteous, right? So imagine that you're that owner and your first focus will be those customers. Now, you mentioned earlier, before you even talk to them about them selling this to their clientele, is first sell it to them, impress upon them the need that they need to have it first.
That's exactly right. And so rather than going in with the mindset of, well, I'm going to get the whole gym, no, I'm going for the trainer or the owner. Because if I can get them to be a believer, and that means get them started on products, get them results, then they will open the door. Like if it's a gym owner, they will open the door. Once they have their belief level 100%, they'll open the door to the trainers and they'll kind of enforce the trainers to do that. Even though trainers most of them are kind of independent within a gym, but there's certain rules they have to follow. But when a trainer buys into your stuff, that's when it gets good.
Exactly. I'm working with the fellow right now who has 5 stores, a skincare line. And I said to him, I want you on this product. I want you to fall in love with my product because then we're going to talk about putting my product in your 5 stores. Let them know what your agenda is, right? Yeah. Okay. So you're teaching them product knowledge and they teach their clients. Is that how it works?
That's exactly how it works. And most of the trainers, whenever we started out, they would pull me in. So I lived in the Hill Country at the time. And so I had to go to Houston because that's where the person started and wanted products. And so I packed my clothes and went to Houston and was in the gym every morning when the trainer got there. And I was her coach. So she trained the people and then she would send them to talk to me in her office. And she would say, go get on the products Brenda just told you about.
Fabulous. Love it. Love it. So you're building loyalty, you're building longevity and continued use of the products.
Yes.
Right. So would you recommend open the door with the drops and stop there? Or would you start mentioning other great products that we have as well?
It depends on where we're going. Right now, I really see I'm seeing big results with the trifecta. And if you don't know what the trifecta is, it is a set of drops, the Advantage and the Sugar Stop in a duo pack. That means 2 sets of drops, 2 bottles of Advantage, and 2 canisters of Sugar Stop. For most people in America today, or maybe global, Ricia, I know you're in Mexico and Canada, obesity is running rampant. And we have some superior products that will quickly get a person results. And so when you combine those three products, we call it the trifecta, they're going to get results much, much faster. And so we're setting them up for a win. It's 2 months of products. That's a commitment. And, I'm a big believer. It's a scientific fact. It takes 90 days for things to change at the cellular level. And so we need to set people up with realistic expectations. And those three products will do it.
Awesome. When you're teaching them about the products, are you using any tools like Kristen's videos, anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. I always have Kristen White's video at hand, and I talk to the person and make it applicable. Sometimes we need to share Dr. Crystal's video. Sometimes I need to send them home with the homework assignment for Dr. Ray Strand's videos. Now we have Dr. Josh Plant, but I tell them about the resources so that they can go home and check that out. And I may also do one more thing, and that is to send them several texts that they can watch as they have time.
Awesome. Okay, so we're talking about the gym. We recently did a call. It was last Tuesday. It was an amazing call. Oh my God, we had like 9 guest speakers. We had doctors, wellness professionals, retailers. We had Kristen herself. There was a lot of product knowledge. I highly recommend that you go to the YouTube channel that's coming up in the chat in a moment and review that call. You're also going to see how Kristen displayed the merchandise. So do screenshots of that and get your little book together, right? So you can actually present. Now, let's talk about presenting, okay? You had this situation where you had the gym owner introduce you to a doctor who had a clinic, right? But before we got there, what would you use as tools to do your 15-minute, 10-minute presentation to that brand new manager that you just walked in on their gym? What kind of tools would you use?
Ricia, I'm old school. We had a presentation book with before and after pictures. I had a 1-page playbook that literally walked you through how to do this. Here at Partner Co, we have something called the System of Growth, which is beautiful. It is very simple. It is very duplicatable, and it's very easy to explain. And, what happened for me was, can you copy, paste, and send? And so if you can learn to do that, you can quickly get the message from your hands to their hands. And so the faster we can deliver that, the better we're going to be. It's going to take people time to digest, but give them the information. Show them pictures. Pictures speak 1,000 words. I'm a big believer, and take a look at the before and afters, because you never know who's going to get caught by what picture.
Are you telling me I don't have to be a product expert?
No, ma'am. Please don't do the expert.
Okay, so you've just invited me to a 15-minute coffee. My replacement has come to the front. I'm going to take you in the back to my little office. And what are you going to do with me at that point?
I'm going to ask you which one of those products I just told you about are you most interested in, and let's get you started today.
Okay, awesome. So obviously you've shared some information. You've asked some qualifying questions. Have you asked me what my needs are at this point?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I skipped over that. One of my number one questions is, what do you want and why do you want that? But my question might be, if you could change anything about your health or your finances, what would that be?
I want you to repeat that.
If you could change anything about your health or your finances, what would that be?
Brilliant. And look at how authentic she is when she asked the question, right? She's a very serious person when that question comes up, because those are two very sensitive topics for everybody, right? A lot of us were in a mess financially before Partner Co, and a lot of us were in a mess on a health level before Partner Co. And voila, miracles happen, right? And I was ready to admit I had anxiety, I had overweight and obesity and all those other things, and I was so ready to receive. And I think it's all in the sincerity of the person asking me that question, how much you care. That's what people will remember about you, is not how much you know, but how much you care about them.
That's right. And sometimes, as tear-filled eyes looked back at me, I took it one step further and asked, would an extra $500 a month make a difference for you?
Yeah.
And here's a true statistic. It used to be $250. It is $400 today. $400 a month will keep a person out of bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big difference. Life has gotten so expensive in the last 5 years. So Barbara, she's my leader in Chapala area, Barbara Hoyle. She's amazing. I just love her to bits. She's been calling on doctors back in her other life back in California. She has the old-fashioned binder, the before and after testimonials, the drops with all the tick mark benefits, right? And she masters that presentation with the old-fashioned binder in 10 minutes or less. So you don't need to have a great Wi-Fi package and everything else. We do have the Share app. We do have the boards as well. But if you're worried about Wi-Fi connection, always have that binder as a backup. It's never failed us in 25 years of doing this business.
Nothing beats a hands-on presentation book.
Absolutely. And you know, there's something about them following the hand that flips the pages. There's something psychological there because you're getting them involved, right? You have a pen, you're pointing at things on your page. There's something psychological about them being very, very involved. Whereas digital, you're swiping through and people are so glossed over at this point. So going back to basics is a very, very good thing. Now, what about practice? Some people are shy, some people are scared. What do you suggest about practicing this? Because you can practice on your dog or on your budgie or.
Well, I'm a big believer in you need to get your story packaged and you need to know what you're going to say. And so I have a video that is called The Art of Packaging Your Story. You need to be able to share your story in 2 to 3 minutes. That's if you take a breath. There are 4 components that are 30 seconds each because people only remember 7% of what we say, and we need to make our nuggets count. And so you need to go in there with your story. Your story is the most powerful one you will ever tell because there's passion and authenticity that rises up in your face and your voice. And so that is number one, Ricia. That is the first thing that I train. Let's get you on product. Let's get you some results. And while we're getting those results, we're going to package your story because we have to be able to go in with a high amount of belief in what we have.
Where do we find the video, how to package your story?
It's on my YouTube channel, Nutritional Business Training by Brenda. There are actually 2 trainings on there. One, The Art of Packaging Your Story. The other one is my training that I did here in Colorado Springs back in November. It's 21 minutes long. There's about 3 hours worth of information crammed in that 21 minutes. So watch it. It's available.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So many of us are really good at presentation, but we suck at the close because we're fearing of rejection, of a possible no, and so on. So you've done a great presentation. You've got a lot of head nodding. So you need to ask some open-ended questions, right? To get them nodding and getting them onto the zone with you. Because if they're like this with their arms crossed, you haven't warmed them up enough to you. You've got to figure that out, how to get them warmed up and get those arms uncrossed. Ask open-ended questions. Would feeling better make a difference for you? How would you feel if you had more energy? What would it be like if you were 30 years younger? How would it feel for you if you had a better sleep? So you need to get them engaged, right? And ask them questions. Okay, so now we're going for the close. How would you close?
I simply ask the question, what part of what I just shared with you interests you?
Nice.
And the first one to speak loses.
That's such a good point. Shut up, right? Yeah,
Wait.
zip it. It could be the most difficult 37 seconds that you ever had in your life.
Silence is uncomfortable, but I'm telling you, the first one that speaks loses.
Exactly. Now, in your product presentation, did you explain anything about Top Pay Ultimate?
I always talk about Top Pay Ultimate, double bonuses, check matching, all 8 ways we get paid, and the ninth one being daily pay.
Nice.
What is daily pay? Oh, now I get to explain how we can really make some serious money today.
There you go. So explain to our audience, Dave. Hey,
Daily pay is you having product and going out and selling it right now, today. And so if you are brand new, there are a couple of ways that we can do that. Your sponsor or your upline or whatever you choose to call us should have products on hand, enough to help get you started. And so the quickest way to get a believer in this opportunity is to get them paid.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. You had mentioned something earlier. You can lead a horse to water,
But you
can't
can't make them drink. We hear
unless
that all the
you,
time.
unless you teach them.
Unless you convince the horse why he needs the water,
That's
he
it.
will drink on his own.
That's it. Absolutely. So again, it's all part about connecting with them and their needs, their health issues, their anxiety. Who knows what's going on in the world? There's a lot they're not telling you. Maybe their mom is sick. Maybe they're going through a nasty divorce. There's so many things that you don't know, right? So become a people reader, connect, and stop thinking about what you want to say next, but tune in and listen. And I'm going to say this, that most often a bad listener is someone that has adopted a whole lot of bad habits. And if you get rid of the bad habits, you become a great listener, right? The bad habits, finishing someone's sentence, right? Thinking about what you want to say next. Your dog is bigger than their dog. Oh, I'll fix it. I'll fix that now. Guys are really good for that. Let me fix it. No, honey, I just want to talk. I don't want you to fix my life. I just want you to listen. Right? So get rid of those bad habits. And all of a sudden you're becoming a great listener because you're present, you're in the moment. And it's such a gift to be able to listen and give that gift of listening to somebody.
That's so true. I have I have an acronym. It's called FORM. I think we talked about that before, Risha. It's I can walk in a room anywhere. It could be the size of the Capitol or the Grand Stadium, and I can start talking to people. Because if you learn to ask the right questions, you will get good answers. And it is FORM. That thing, ask people about their family. There's a ton of questions that you can ask a person about their family. And I don't know about y'all, but you asked me about my grandsons. Get ready. I'm fixing to pull out some pictures. We're going to look at some pictures, right? The next thing that I'll ask a person is about what do they do? How long have they been there? Do they like it? Oh my gosh, exactly. What does that mean? What do you do? You know, do you like that? The next thing I ask people, I love hearing this one is like, where do you vacation? The R is for recreation. Where do you vacation? You like the mountains or the beach? What's your favorite place you've ever been? Oh my gosh, have you traveled the globe? Tell me all the fun things you've done. People want to talk about their life. And so we get to give them the opportunity. So I never move forward with the message, which is the M, until I have gathered all my nuggets from the family, what they do for a living. That tells me what their life is like. And the recreation tells me what kind of life they have. Did you know there's many people on the planet that have never been on a vacation? Why is that? Because there's not enough money at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Or there's more month at the end of the money. And so we have to know those things before we can position Partner Co as a solution. So please, please do what you're supposed to. People don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. And please find out about the person. And when you do that, we build relationship, we build trust, we build loyalty. I have people with me today that started with me 23 years ago. Why is that?
because you care. Yeah. And just to help out, I used to have an index card system, so easy, right? You can do anything. You can keep notes on your phone or whatever, but an index 4x6 index cards in an alphabetical little index box is make notes about that person, right? And I'll even scratch notes with a little notebook in my purse, and then I'll transfer it to the index card. So you remember the husband's name, you remember the grandkids' names, you remember all the different names. Hi, Cheryl, can you please mute your line? Thank you. Welcome to the call. So make notes and remember. So the next time you talk to that gym owner, you can ask, hey, how's Sadie doing? That beautiful little German Shepherd puppy of yours. Wow, would they be flattered or what, right? So really, really important to care about the people, critically important. Okay, so now we're going to discuss options for them. You introduced the trifecta. Do you talk about the 3-packs, the 10-packs, the 30-packs?
Yeah, to everybody, I do, but I'm always listening and discerning when to bring that in. Sometimes you have to get people started on products and get them results. I most of the time will say, may I give you your options? I'm an options girl and I'm a discount girl. May I give you options? And most people will say, yeah. So I tell them, you can get a 4-pack. And I explained about the 4-pack. In Canada, it's a 3-pack, I understand. You can tell them about the 10-pack. And what I do is the 4-pack is a buy 3, get 1 free. The 10-pack is buy 6, get 4 free. The 30-pack is buy 14 and get 16 free. And so know the math. Be ready to share them because people are listening and we have to help them understand. They don't know what a 4-pack, a 10-pack, or a 30-pack is. They don't know what that means for or could mean for them. And so we never know what they're listening for. And again, we never prejudge people. So absolutely, Ricia, I always give options.
Okay, now you've got some great questions that you're asking the professional, whether it be the hair salon or the gym owner. What are these questions that you ask them, or the doctor in the clinic?
The doctor in the clinic, whenever we got her on product and she began to get results, and y'all, she was 105 pounds soaking wet. So it was not like she needed to lose weight, but she wanted to be stronger. She needed energy to keep up with her busy office. She had a huge OB-GYN office. And so I asked her, when she started talking about bringing the products into the clinic, I asked her, what is the need? What is the number one need of most women in this clinic? Well, it was weight loss and gut health. And so I was able to address that. And so before long, she had me come to the clinic.
And then what happened?
Well, she decided she was going to carry products in the clinic and wanted her staff to get on it as well as all of her patients. So I went into the clinic. I met everybody in the office, all of her staff, and learned a little bit about who they are and what they did, what their function was in the clinic. I learned who was the head honcho there, who kind of ran the show, and I befriended her quickly. And then as I began to meet them, they began to know who I was. Y'all, I had packed my bag. I told Larry, I said, baby, pack me some clothes and meet me in San Antonio. I'm going to be here a month. And so I got a place to stay and went into her clinic every day and worked. And before long, she put a white coat on me. She took me into her patients. She did her check and follow up on what she did. And then she would introduce me as her health and wellness coach. And she would say, listen to her and do what she says, and walked out the door. So I began to do what I do, talk to the patient, find out what their need is, find out what their goal is, got them started on product, escorted them out to the front desk, checked them out, and sent them home with product. Now, what we had set up when I wasn't seeing patients was an Excel spreadsheet. And every time, and we set up a cash register. Back then it was a cash register. And so we had to put a key in and on for products. And so when a person checked out, it went through that that system. So it was noted on an Excel spreadsheet what products they bought, their name, their date, their phone number, in as much information as I needed to help them. And then they would email me the spreadsheet and I would make the follow-up calls. Hello, this is Brenda Carlton. I am calling on behalf of Dr. Carrie Kirkman's office. I'm doing follow-up. I want to check on you and see how you're doing. And started a conversation much like that. And that's how we ran it. And that thing built, she had a whole showcase of all the products. And so we typically had a system depending on what people needed. She put together certain packages that would target certain things, like our trifecta, the drops, the advantage, and the sugar stop. And that's how we got people started. And it was beautiful. I did all the follow-up. She collected and made all the money. But then I was the one that could offer a little bit later, hey, there's a way that you can save money too. And then I would do the honorable thing of integrity, and I enrolled them under her, and I built her a business. Wow. Does that sound familiar, anybody?
That doctor is very blessed to have you as a sponsor. So I would imagine as she's experiencing the products, she is sharing her results and her stories with her patients. Okay, super. So you talked about getting to know the staff, introducing yourself, finding out what they do, treating them with respect, who does what in the office. Now, what about the staff? Would you encourage them to get on the product as well?
Oh, absolutely. They all use product.
Okay, so now we're creating more results and more stories.
Absolutely.
And we could just say, look at Jill at the front desk. Look at how great.
Right. That's right. We had before and afters, and patients come to see their doctor sometimes on a monthly basis, sometimes on that 90-day, we'll see you in 3 months, because it's scientific fact. It takes 90 days for things to change at the cellular level. That's why your doctor says see you in 3 months. And so I also did weigh-ins every 2 weeks, Ricia. I have my own system that I do for follow-up. I'm big on follow-up.
That is so important. And I know I need better strength in my follow-up. I get so distracted by so many things. So thank you. Let's talk about now your follow-up system. You had talked about a spreadsheet and also to the actual follow-up form that's in the chat. So let's talk about your binder and that spreadsheet that the assistant or the nurse or somebody at the front desk is sending to you daily. You're aware of who just bought product, who's new on the product, that little tracking system that you had in this situation.
Okay, the Excel spreadsheet was just a spreadsheet of who bought product. So it was the date they bought it, their name, their address, their phone number, what product they bought, and when they got started. So that's what that was. That came to me. Then when I called and reached out to them, that is when my follow-up begins. And so this is the sheet that y'all will see. And
you'll have to take your backdrop off for us to see that.
I'm out. Hang on just a second here. Let me get rid of this. Just background. None. Okay. This is my follow-up sheet.
Perfect. Yeah, right there. Bring it a little closer to the light, please. Okay, perfect. Okay, and again, too, this very record is in the chat box at the very beginning of this call. I love this. Thank you for creating that. That's awesome. Can you explain a little about it?
Absolutely. This gives me the ability to find out a person. I did this 5 times today on Zooms. I got on a Zoom. I am big on face-to-face now. When I built this before, we didn't have Zoom. We didn't have, we didn't do this, but it has the follow-up record, has their name, address, city, state, zip. It has the best time to be reached. That's important. We've got to find out what their life is. I ask, what is your desired outcome in order of importance? Number 1 being the highest. It is weight loss, increased energy, reduced inflammation, joint pain, better sleep, brain fog, eliminate hot flashes or night sweats. And I have them tell me what's most important to them. The next thing I asked is, are you taking medication? Because I need to know are you taking medication? Medication can interfere with absorption and product results. So that helps me to know where they are. I also ask if they're sensitive, if they have sensitive absorption. And a lot of times people look at me, they don't know what that means. And I have to say, well, if at 8 o'clock at night you had a brownie, would you be up all night having a party because you can't sleep? The next thing I asked is, do you exercise 3 times a week? Exercise meaning, do you move your body for 20 minutes to get your heart rate up 3 times a week? The next thing is, do you move waste daily? I'm a believer, if it's not coming out, it's not coming off. And if we don't eliminate waste on a daily basis, our body reabsorbs that as toxins, and no wonder we feel bad. I have to know all those things. And then I have the product regimen, which products they're on and the date that they are starting on them. And then my next block on the far right is a series of questions. And I say, I just need a yes or no from you. This is going to be less than 2 minutes. Just a yes or no. And when I hear what I need to do, I'm going to circle back around. So they are, do you eat breakfast daily? Do you drink 10 to 12 cups of water? The right ratio for you is half your body weight in ounces of water a day. Do you eat on the go often? Do you skip meals? Do you get the munchies at night? On and on and on. You can read over there what that is. And then I asked, do you get 7.5 hours minimum sleep every night? That is key. Because if our body does not go into that deep round sleep where it repairs all the damage we've done to it during the day, you wake up and your body is behind the 8 ball all day long. And people's bodies never catch up. Hence the overproduction of cortisol. And then my last question is, what are the unhealthy foods that you eat, that your favorite foods that you consider unhealthy? And then I ask, is there anything else that I need to know in order to better serve you and help you reach your goal?
Beautifully done. Very, very well done. All of those questions are the initial interview, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
When a person gets started on the drops.
As you're following up with them, okay, so now let's talk about that. First of all, you've got a 3-ringer tab system, right? Your monthly system. Okay.
It's
and
nothing more than a notebook. And the tabs are, I don't know where my camera is here. The tabs are 1 through 31.
Okay.
And say today is the 12th, and I made 5 phone calls and did this. So some of them are brand new droppers. So tomorrow I will follow up and say, how was day 1? And then from then on, I will move them to the tab 7 days out. I typically follow up on a weekly basis. However, I do have one ex-military that wants Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 28 days. And so I'm going to meet her where she's at. And after that, then I will put her on a weekly basis. So I meet people where they are, but that's how I keep up with them. And Ricia, tomorrow is day 13, and I will tab over here to 13. There's who I'm going to follow up with.
Brilliant system. Nobody falls through the cracks.
Nobody falls through the crack.
Brilliant.
And I have notes at the bottom I can note the progress. I've lost 9 pounds in 3 weeks. I'm down 4 pounds. I can see my ankles again. Those kind of things.
That is so awesome. I love it. So again, to be very professional with your newbies, again, weight loss is a very sensitive thing. There's often self-esteem and anxiety, depression that is attached to that obesity situation. So be very professional, be very sensitive, be prompt, show up when you say you will. Right? Very important. And it's a good idea. I've been in the sales, I've been in business for a long time, is to send them a text or a reminder of something to say, I'm looking forward to connecting with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock, so that they don't stand you up. This call is as important for them as it is for you. Right?
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Texting works. Texting works also if you can't get in touch with that person. Like I have a school teacher, school started. She texted me the minute she got out of school and gave me what I needed to know. See, people need to know there's accountability, and they need to know that somebody cares and is checking on me.
Absolutely. That's so true. So true. I love it. And you also had a weigh-in clinic every week or every 2 weeks. Something like that to make it a community situation?
Yeah. Every 2 weeks I weighed. Once I got a person started on product, they knew how to take their product. They were comfortable with the regimen, because I would type out a regimen for them. At 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to do this. At 12 o'clock, you're going to do this. At 3 o'clock, you're going to do that. I gave them exactly what they're going to do, the how-tos, because it's new for some people. And then I put them up on a regimen. And so I had 11 100-pound weight loss stories on my team. And that's a journey. And so every 2 weeks was a weigh-in.
Fabulous. Love it. Love it. And you could go to the next extreme, go to the dollar store and buy a number one pins, winner pins or champion pins or something like that, just to really help them feel important, right?
Yes, it's fun to do groups like that too. Get a group together and do something for a month. That's a short-term thing. Most people can do anything for 30 days. And so what you're talking about is excellent motivation. Group.
All right, super. So now people are getting results. They've enjoyed the first month, maybe even in about week 3. You want to move them into the next box unless they bought a 4-pack, but let's say they bought retail, one from the clinic. Let's talk about how to convert them. What would that approach look like?
Well, that's a difficult question for me, Ricia, because I don't have any customers. I enroll people as a brand partner day one. But if I didn't, then I would do what Brent Palmer teaches us, and that is to sell a box of drops and by the second week. But you've already heard me. I don't wait 2 weeks. I'm on it because I'm going to get a win. And so, but Brent teaches that in 2 weeks, we do follow up. We check on them and say, tell me what your wins are. And at that point, we can set them up for expectations of the next box. We've already said we're going to give it 90 days. And so that's 2 more months. And so the question is, would you like to get a wholesale discount and save money on your next box? That's a yes or no. And then I would offer what that looks like. And I would simply say for $29.95, that's $29.95, not $2,900. We can get you a lifetime membership for a wholesale discount of 30%. And then that is when I tell them about the 4-pack, the 10-pack, or the 30-pack. And then I simply ask, which one sounds best for you? First one to speak loses.
And be quiet. That's it. That's it. What an amazing call. Oh my God, that hour flew by so very quickly. And I'm seeing in the chat that people are just loving all these nuggets. Brenda, you are truly, truly a superstar. I'm so grateful to have you on the call with us. Everybody, you can put some love in the chat for Brenda. Been such a great call. We're going to pause the recording and then we can open it up for any questions.